Hey, what's up, guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another video. Thank you all for joining me for this live stream. I am joined by Sergeant Eric Levine. Just want to make note that thank you so much for joining me, that he does not speak for his department. He's an active duty sergeant, and he doesn't speak for his department. And I'm also joined by the man, the myth, the legend, attorney Alex Taubes, my suit attorney against Sergeant Bryan Fahey for the prior incidents, and a criminal defense attorney in the state of Connecticut. All right, guys, so obviously this stream is about Sergeant Bryan Fahey. I wanted to get a law enforcement perspective as well as an attorney's perspective on this whole situation where Sergeant Bryan Fahey closed the distance with me, brandished his firearm, got in my face, spat in my face. I was subsequently arrested along with my cameraman for voyeurism, criminal trespass, and breach of the peace. We're going to look at the elements of those crimes. Spoiler alert, they didn't. But I also wanted to take a quick look back and give all the context of what's going on here. So I wanted to bring up this video, the first Sergeant Bryan Fahey incident here. Let's go back, way back to 2021.
We want to entertain your complaint through the proper channels. You want to make a complaint?
Yeah, which is through internal affairs.
Yep,
It's the proper
so you've been
channels.
given that. Yep.
I will go speak to them
All right,
personally.
have a great day.
You too.
Nice talking to you.
You as well.
Sounds like a pretty nice interaction. Nice talking to you. You as well. Seemed like everything was going right. You know, I was just trying to make a complaint against a different state trooper.
I'll be right with you guys.
You're all set here?
Excuse me?
Are you all set here?
Well, yeah, there's nothing else obviously you can help me out with at this
Okay,
point.
so you're all set. So you're going to go to IA right now, correct?
Yeah, I'll be
Okay,
there.
all right.
I'm going to be going.
Okay.
I'm going to be going.
Okay. So you're going to stand here with your cell phone on?
I thought you were busy. I thought you were a busy man.
I am busy.
So you should get to work.
I should get to work? Is that what you're telling me?
If you're busy.
We're going to have a problem between you and I. We're going to have a problem between you and I.
You're going to do an interference.
His body camera's on. His body camera's on. Stop. He has his body camera on.
I don't care.
Stop,
I don't
man.
care.
Step back.
Right?
Step back.
This is private property.
I'm
Okay?
not doing anything.
You're not going to
I will get
videotape
off.
me and
I'll
have
get
an
off of
attitude
it.
with me.
I'll get
But
off
I'm going
of
to
it.
tell you what
Where's your
right
phone?
now,
I'll
dude.
get off of it.
I'm not the
Stop.
one.
All right.
Okay? I gave you the information
trying
you
to make a
needed,
complaint, that's it.
and I gave you your outlet. Right?
I'm
You were
going.
giving your
I
outlet.
said I
No,
was
you wanted to
going.
stand there and hold your cell phone in my face.
I
Is
wasn't
what
in
you
your
wanted
face.
to do. Yes,
I
you
wasn't
do.
in your
Take your
face.
cell phone and go and make your complaint. Okay?
Okay. Can I grab my
No,
cell
you stay
phone?
right here.
I'll get it for you. I'll get it for
All right.
What's
Where's your
wrong
car
with
at?
you
Where's your
guys,
car at?
man?
Where's your car at?
I'm gonna go, man. I'm going.
All right, no, but where's your car
Why
at?
didn't you
I'm
know where my
asking.
car's at? You were about to arrest me, man, for real?
I had
Is your
to
body
detain
camera
you.
on?
Yeah, my body camera is on, buddy. I'm Trooper Costello, 1139.
Costello?
Yep.
Wow.
Listen, with the
You
situation
were
that
gonna
you're going,
arrest me for real?
we're going to detain you of what the situation was going on, man. You're being.
Conversation's over. Go ahead. I'm leaving.
So that's the first incident. What do you guys think? Sergeant, you go first.
So public place, right?
Yeah, the Connecticut State Police Headquarters, right?
Right. So
Where he is context, he is in the sergeant of pistol permits.
Right. So for
Not as
me,
public as it gets.
what's that?
That's about as public as it gets.
Right. So for me as a cop, I'm like, I've got nothing. I got nothing. You could be there as long as the hours of operation are open. I can't say a damn thing about it. Like, hey, how you doing? Okay, I figured out what you needed, but you can keep standing there if you want. I can't do anything as long as you're not blocking a doorway.
And, yeah, and really the only reason that I stood there was because I was waiting to do an outro. I was going to say, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go head over to internal affairs, blah, 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 and then turn off the video, get in my car, and head over to internal affairs. That was the only reason. But when I have a sergeant of the police department who wasn't the nicest to me, kind of like brushing off my complaint, because there was some context before then, but just for brevity's sake, I just showed that clip. But he's like, I'm a busy guy trying to brush me off, and I thought my complaint was valid and serious, and so I was just like, you're telling me to leave, I'll leave when I want to leave. This is public property, and if you're so busy, you should get back to work. I didn't really mean it in a disrespectful way. It was mainly just like as a matter of fact way. And Alex Taubes, he's representing me in the lawsuit for this incident as well as the second incident. We actually just did the deposition for Trooper Costello, the one that pulled out his handcuffs and the one that was wearing the body camera. He pulled out his handcuffs, said we're going to do an interfering. We figured out that was his first year on the force. That was the year he was hired.
He was talking like a rookie.
Yeah, no,
He was lost, and he was looking at that sergeant for guidance, what he needed to do. Yeah, he did not know what was going on.
Alex, do you want to tell people what did we end up deciding to do with Trooper Costello based on the deposition answers he gave, and even how he talked about his lack of training on the First Amendment, etc.
Look. At the end of the day, we
I can hear you fine. Yeah, you don't have to scream.
At the end of the day, we basically decided that Trooper Costello was not really worth pursuing anymore, because he was just basically Bambi, deer in headlights, while Sergeant Fahey was doing what he was doing. I mean, as scary, and you got to just think, if it was scary for for Costello, imagine how scary it is for a citizen, right? He was too scared. Ultimately, he admits that Sergeant Fahey was being hostile, which took him a lot to do and probably got him expelled from the Thin Blue Line. But, if he's going to be honest about it, he was not the main driver. He was a bit player at most. So we let him out.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we took him off the lawsuit. He's still a witness. But, after talking to Alex, we both came to the conclusion that this is not the guy he's a very sympathetic guy. He seems like a good guy. We grilled him for about 2 hours, and eventually he did admit that the aggressor was Sergeant Bryan Fahey in the incident. I don't see how anybody could not say that. But I also just wanted, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I think kind of your ultimate goal when you do this type of stuff, at least the impression that I've got from you, is to learn. And you gave him an opportunity to learn. And I think that was a great learning tool for him, because that 0 to 5 year mark for a cop, that's what I call rookies. I've been at it almost 20 years. So that's a rookie that you just dealt with. And he got a hard lesson really quick that he's never going to make again. You just made a better cop. And I think that was the right path to go, because he didn't go too far. He went just far enough to learn.
And he had no training.
He admitted that. You're not here to demonize anybody.
Yeah.
We're trying to help people learn so that all of our rights are protected. And Costello, he knew it was wrong. He wasn't trying. He didn't just lie. He told the truth. You were never aggressive, and you never escalated situations. So we got what we needed from him.
Right. Yep. He did. He said all of that. Polite, cordial. He said that Fahey was the aggressor. Took a little coaxing from Alex here. He did a really good job. Unfortunately, you guys won't be able to see this deposition for some time. It's under protective order, unfortunately. But I forgot. I want to show everybody really quickly
Did your phone get broke on that? I'm just curious.
Oh,
was your phone broken?
Yes, my phone. The back of the phone was shattered. Right, he took it from me and threw it down, and it got shattered. And I sent all the evidence to Internal Affairs. And my biggest thing is that Internal Affairs didn't do anything. Like, didn't give him a suspension. And I think this is why this individual escalates the way he does, is because he faces zero accountability for any of his actions. He wasn't held accountable for that. He wasn't held accountable for the second incident that I'm about to show you, criminally, internally in the department, and then we'll see what happens with this one. But we did get an update from the Town of Groton Police Department here. They issued a press release, and I'm assuming they issued this press release because the amount of interest, public interest, I should say, in this incident. So I just wanted to read that to each and every one of you. Town of Groton Police Department actively investigating incident that led to arrest of 2 men. The Town of Groton Police Department reports that they're actively investigating an incident that occurred on Friday, July 11th, involving an active law enforcement officer that led to the arrest of 2 men. Jean-Paul Reyes of New York was arrested and charged with breach of the peace in the 2nd degree, voyeurism with malice, criminal trespass in the 1st degree. And then my cameraman was also charged with the same exact charges. On Friday, July 11th at about 4:52 p.m., the Town of Groton Police Department received a 911 call from a resident reporting a disturbance. The caller, a law enforcement officer who works for a different agency but was off duty at the time, reported that 2 men had trespassed onto the property. I just want to say really quick, notice how they do not say the law enforcement officer's name or what agency he works for, but they're perfectly fine putting my name and where I live in this press release. I think that was interesting. In an initial investigation, police determined that Reyes and the officer were known to each other and had an ongoing civil litigation. Alex, Reyes and a videographer identified as Glover arrived at the home with a box truck, an LED box truck, playing video footage of a prior interaction between the parties. Through further investigation, the Town of Groton Police Department determined that Reyes and Glover were on the property filming, at which point the parties engaged in a verbal confrontation. The officer also retrieved a firearm from the home. Reyes and Glover were arrested without incident. The incident is actively being investigated by the Town of Groton Police Department in collaboration with the Office of the State's Attorney, New London Judicial District. As this is an active investigation, the department will have no further comment at this time. These are allegations. All suspects are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So this is the official statement put out by the Town of Groton Police Department. I want to go to you, Alex. What do you think about this statement? Anything pops out to you? What do you think about it?
Well, the main thing that popped out to me was that a Groton police lieutenant went to Boston University for a class. Could you scroll back down to that?
He went to a Groton police.
Yeah, Boston University. All the way down at the bottom there. A little bit lower.
Yep. Groton police lieutenant completes executive development course at Boston University.
I'm partial to that as a terrier myself, class of 2011. I'm hoping that they learn something during that class and that maybe that lieutenant can get called in on this case.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't speak to any lieutenants.
Something to consider. That department's 70 people deep in a population of 32,000. They have probably almost never, if never, dealt with anybody like you. They do not get audited. They don't get any of this stuff. I guarantee this was a big learning thing for that entire department.
I grew up on Long Island Sound as well in Madison, Connecticut, just a couple towns over from Groton, maybe 5 or 6 towns over. That's a nice town. It makes me think state police is a good career move because that's a big house in a nice town.
Long driveway. Comments like it took like 4 minutes to walk back to the public road. I gotta be a cop.
I bet it seemed even longer for you.
Yeah. I'm walking backwards.
Not bad. How far is that from the beach, Jean Paul?
I do not know, and I would not tell you. I will not be doxing Sergeant Bryan Fahey. No. I intentionally blurred out his address that he had.
Good.
On the lawn, because that's not the purpose of any of this, whether it's legal or not. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish here. I've only been to Groton one time before. Never had any interactions with the Groton Police Department. They might have came out. I went to the Groton Naval Submarine Base in, you know what I'm talking about, Alex? The submarine military base, and these MPs came out. I was filming outside the base, and these MPs came out, and they were big fans. And you know, they told the Groton Police to go back, and they had called them. They said, no, don't worry about it. We had a good conversation, and that was it. Unfortunately, the people I had a conversation with asked me to, you know, they were like, hey, you know, we don't want to get in trouble here. So I like to keep good cops where they're at, you know. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I also wanted to show, as far as spitting, this happened in 2021. So during COVID, this woman was charged with a hate crime for spitting in this woman's face. I believe she used a racial slur. But she also was charged, you can see here, after an investigation that involved reviewing video footage of the situation on March 17th, the woman was also charged with deprivation of rights, criminal attempt to commit assault in the 3rd degree, reckless endangerment in the 1st degree, and a risk to injury of a child. So I wonder, I was reading, you know, I was looking up with my other attorney some case law on this. Alex, what's the criminal attempt? So attempt you can add to any statute, right?
Well, in order for it to be an attempt, you needed to have taken a step towards committed the crime with specific intent to commit the crime.
Right.
But spitting in someone's face is not an attempt. That's an assault, 3rd degree. It's reckless endangerment in the 1st degree. And I don't know if it's a hate crime in your case because there wasn't the use of a racial slur. But him calling the police and saying, you threatened to kill me when you didn't say that at all, is both false reporting of an incident in the second degree, which is a criminal offense as well, and it's defamation per se, because he's making a statement that you've committed a crime, threatening in the first degree, threatening to kill someone, which is false, which is per se defamation. So he broke a lot of laws. He broke a ton of laws. What I watched on the video was, as soon as he says, leave my property, you start moving towards the exit, and you never stop, and you go all the way to the end of the property. You never re-enter the property. And as you are retreating from his aggression, he spits on your face. I mean, he's the guy who should have gotten arrested, clearly.
Yeah, and let's not forget, this is me looking at it as a cop. He said Connecticut State Trooper. He said it multiple times while carrying a firearm. What is Sean supposed to think other than the fact that now he's acting under the color of law, that he is a cop, and he has now spit in your face, which makes it a totally different thing. Now he's covered under his own use of force policies and excessive force, because he just used that he is a Connecticut State Trooper, and then he spit in your face.
Then again,
brandishing a firearm, right? There's got to be use of force policies when it comes to brandishing a firearm on someone who is retreating. I think someone who hasn't broken the law. I did not break any laws.
I think him having a firearm is fine. One, he's on his own property. Two, let's be fair, Sean, you traveled into another state with a man that you have history with,
right?
On his property. So from his point of view, I get it. I would have had a gun too, but I'm out of Texas. We all got guns. So I understand him having a gun. But when he says, I'm a Connecticut State Trooper, your behavior now that's really hard, because you're trying to leave the property. You turn towards him, which I agreed with, because now he can clearly see your hands in your high risk area. If you would have kept your back to him, it could have been a lot. It could have turned into something worse, because he could have used I couldn't see his hands. I thought he was reaching in his waistband. He was doing this, that, and the other. So you backpedaling, I actually think went in your favor. But he stepped to you while you were retreating, and he's saying that he's a cop, and then he spits in your face. That's kind of a big deal.
It's a crime. And then, honestly, the smartest thing he did was say to you, I'm a state trooper, because, first of all, now the state attorney general's office is going to give him free lawyers. He's going to be able to claim qualified immunity. He's going to violate just use of force policies, which are not really that binding on the departments to create liability. So turning himself into an officer, ironically, makes him less likely to be held accountable for the crimes that he committed against you than if he had never mentioned that he was a state trooper. So that was the only smart thing I saw him do from a perspective of self-interest, was to say, I'm a state trooper, I'm a state trooper, I'm a state trooper.
Right. But when we talk about qualified immunity, I mean, there's got to be a limit, right? I mean, I've seen judges do mental gymnastics a bunch of times in my own personal cases, and I'm sure, Alex, you've seen it. But, there's got to be a limit on qualified immunity. You can't just, I don't know, make a false 911 call. He's in effect violating my rights by telling them these types of false allegations. I assume, I haven't gotten any court paperwork yet, no police report or anything like that. I assume he wrote a statement, and I assume that statement's full of lies. I mean, it would have to be. I think they're misinterpreting the voyeurism statute.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
By a lot. It doesn't really make any sense. But I just wanted to we talked about this a little bit. I wanted to go to the second incident, because we've never, Eric, we've never really covered this between you and I. I've been on your channel before.
I don't think I've seen the second one. I did see the first one. I don't know that I've ever seen the second. But
okay, so let's pull up the second one.
Okay.
Also, Attorney Alex Taubes is representing me on this case.
Look, everyone, it's Sergeant Bryan Fahey in the flesh. There he is. Look at him.
Context: I was there to file a FOIA request for some documents.
In the flesh, he's here.
Okay, he's smart. He's not being involved.
He waved.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
You already told me you didn't have anything here.
Oh yeah, I just got to do some FOIA requests and things.
Some
of that nature. A FOIA request for your body camera footage and Sergeant Bryan Fahey's disciplinary records.
You can have it. Send it in writing.
Yeah.
Who's the guy behind you that
I have to conduct business here, Sergeant.
Sir, what can we do for you? Come on in.
Oh, you're the sergeant of pistol permits, aren't you?
Come on.
Go ahead. Come on in, sir.
Sir,
Excuse me, sir. You have to get out of the way.
Sir, I know your inclination is wanting to assault me, Sergeant. Stop pushing me. I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to get in the building.
You have no business here.
I do have business here. Stop acting like a savage. What are you doing?
Before I arrest you.
The security camera footage clearly shows Sergeant Bryan Fahey violently take my camera from my possession, stopping it from recording. I want you all to take a moment and think about what would happen if one of us did this to a law enforcement officer.
Back up
Take
before
my
I
phone
arrest
again.
you.
I have other
Back
people
up
watching
before
you.
I arrest you. Back
Her
up.
body camera's on.
That's fine. Get
You
away
like
from
to
the
do
door.
things in
You
front of
don't need to
people's body
block the
camera.
door. Don't block the door.
No one's scared of you,
Don't.
Sergeant.
I didn't say you were. Don't
I'm not
block the
scared of
door.
you.
Don't
I'm
block
not
the door.
scared of you.
Don't
Sir.
block
I'm not
the
scared of
door.
you.
Just
Don't
back up.
block
Scared
the
of you.
door. Don't block the door.
Yeah. I'm not scared of you.
Don't block the
Do
door.
what you got to do.
Don't
Do what
block
you
the
gotta
door.
do. Do what you got to do, because I'm not scared of you, Sergeant. I'm allowed to come into this building.
So, again, I had every right to be in that building. I eventually, that same day, was permitted in the building. I spoke to legal. I filed my FOIA request. It wasn't that big of a deal. But again, he escalates these encounters, and his ego, Eric, you talk about you have ego training at your department.
Yes.
You guys have implemented that.
The thing that we like to show officers is that we're all capable of being emotionally hijacked. When you're thinking logically and reasonably, you are thinking with the frontal lobe, which, typically doesn't finish developing until you're around 25 years old if you're a male. So that is something that we like to point out because we are hiring officers at 21 and over. So we start talking about literally when you get emotionally hijacked, you are no longer thinking with the right part of your brain. You switch from the frontal lobe to a different part of your brain where that emotional lizard brain stuff starts to take over. He had an unmet expectation, and that caused him to go from that logical point of view and reasonableness to that emotional hijack. You did something he didn't have an answer for. You called his bluff. And we know you're very good at I don't want to use the term gaslighting because I don't think it's necessarily gaslighting, but holy shit, can you get under somebody's skin by being polite? I mean, it's the Bugs Bunny theory put to work. You kiss him with kindness and it drives Elmer Fudd nuts. And that's what you did there. So that is what we're teaching them. And that's what I see each time that he goes past his point of reasonableness and excessiveness is because you've emotionally compromised him. And that's what's happening. You can see him go from when he was waving, being kind and courteous, and then that emotional switch, that emotional hijack. He switches from frontal lobe to the back part of his brain. And that's what we're seeing. And we're teaching officers to recognize those signs and symptoms, how I can recognize my partner doing that so I can pull him back before he becomes an issue, and vice versa. Recognize it within yourself. Because like I said, we're all human, and we all, like when he spit in your face, how you didn't lose your shit. And I mean, holy cow.
Self-preservation.
Yeah.
He definitely spat in my face because he was trying to provoke, people call me, you want to provoke these encounters. He was trying to provoke me to engage with him in a physical manner so he can unload that clip and take my life. That's because he wasn't just going to shoot once. We all know this. He was going to unload the clip. So I was trying to remain as calm as possible when you have spit in your lip, mouth, face.
Ooh. You should have dry heaved. I would have. I did. When I watched it. I dry heaved.
Think about it. It would have been murder, clearly. He tells you to leave. You start to leave. He goes back into his house, gets a gun, and comes out at you while you're leaving. That's murder if he kills you. I mean, and I honestly, the reason why I didn't like watching the video is because I thought, like, he's so unstable, he could have murdered you. And I really didn't want to do a wrongful death case for you.
And bro, like, this is another thing I wanted. I think you and I are quickly becoming friends that talk on the phone regularly. And I look, you can be right and you can be dead right. In this particular case, I wish you would have used a proxy. Had somebody go do it for you, stay out in the street. I understand, but damn, your dad and your husband, right. And this is old man me talking. I've been in the game almost 20 years, And I just, like I said, I know the mission. I know what you're doing. It's bigger than us. But at the same time, I care about people. I don't want anybody to get hurt. So that's just
and listen, and I'm always open to constructive criticism or advice. I don't think that was necessarily criticism. I think that's just more advice. It was definitely caring. I think it was definitely in the moment. I have to be honest. I didn't feel fear. It was like adrenaline was going through. I'm like, okay, I'm cognizant. He has a gun in his hand. I didn't even think it was about 4:00, and he apparently gets $80,000 a year in overtime. So I didn't even know if he was going to be home or not.
Right.
Since he's working till 9:00 at night every single night, apparently 9 to 9. But he was home, hanging out, chilling. I have knocked on many public officials' doors before, not just his door. It's not me singling him out. I've knocked on police commissioners' doors. I've knocked on, district attorneys' doors. Anybody I have a question to, I have no problem. And if you really look at, I consider myself an independent journalist. I am. I report on matters of public interest. So whether you want to, there's a lot of people, you're no journalist, and that's fine. You can have your opinion of me. I really couldn't care less. But when you're investigating something, you have every right to go knock on somebody's door, and that person can tell you to leave, and you leave. And that's exactly what I did. Did I think that it was going to escalate to this level? Honestly, I thought at the very most he would have been like, get that off my property, and I would have got off his property, like what should have happened. But to pull his firearm and everything like that. And, I was thinking about it today. I talked to a bunch of reporters today, local reporters. I have a Zoom meeting tomorrow, an interview tomorrow about this case. And I was thinking about it today, and I'm like, why did he feel the need to go back inside and get his gun? We have had multiple interactions at this time. He's always been the aggressor. He's the tough guy, right? He's the guy getting in my face every single time. He's the guy taking my cameras from me every single time. He's the guy grabbing me. He's not the one, remember? That's some tough talk from a Connecticut state trooper. He's got the thin blue line tattoos, the skulls. He was in the military. This is a tough guy's guy, apparently, allegedly. Why'd you need to go back inside and go get the gun? Why not just say, why not come out just and confront me right there and then? I don't know.
Yeah. I can tell you
he's not so tough.
With your history, I think that's why. And I would have done the same exact thing with
But his history doesn't justify it at all, because he never did anything violent. So like every single interaction he's ever had with Fahey, he's been completely peaceful. Fahey has lied. He said in the first incident that he thought that Sean Paul's camera was a gun. Well, you learned at this point, 4 years later, it was not a gun. Second time, aggression. Sean doesn't do anything in response. And now this time, when Sean comes, he's got a cameraman standing behind him. Nobody comes to commit a crime on your property with a cameraman. That's just not how crime gets done, in my experience. So, I understand why it makes him decompensate, because he is so angry and hates Sean so much. Maybe it's like this internalized anger against himself for all of his overreactions, and Sean reminds him of it. But that's not on Sean. Like, Sean's never done anything to his history. No. His history suggests I'm just a peaceful guy who likes to camera the police.
Right.
I'm
And
not
again,
I
Eric,
can kind of understand anybody comes on my property that, like I said, that I've got a little bit of history with it, whether it's
I get that. But
listen,
I live in an apartment building, so
I live in Texas. Different breed out here.
No, but to Alex's point, you've been a law enforcement officer, you said, for almost 20 years, right?
Yes,
Have
sir.
you ever seen anybody take a cameraman to commit a crime?
No, and that and it's definitely a great point. I'm with you. Like so I said, I see it both sides.
Circumstantial, right? You gotta don't you have to be situationally aware and know?
Sean, when he spit in your face, did it smell like alcohol?
I don't recall. Don't recall if it smelled like alcohol. I was just in shock. Okay, I wasn't thinking about
the sample. We can do some testing.
Yeah, I asked them to take a sample of it. Apparently, they don't have that capability at the Groton Police Department. I was like, take a sample, like swab, put it in a tube or something. Like, and they're like, oh, we don't do that here. Yeah, they don't do that there. But just because, you know, I know the video just came out today, but I haven't watched it with you two. You know, I've been texting both of you all day, but let's just watch it.
There aren't any no trespassing signs. We're just coming in peace to ask some questions.
Viewer discretion is advised.
And I had let people know you had already looked for trespassing signs.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I think it's important to note
because if he would have had a no trespassing sign, I have a no trespassing sign in front of my house. If you would have had it, if he would have just bought a no trespassing sign, I would have saw it. Oh, guess I can't answer any. Guess I can't ask any questions today, and I would have moved on.
Oh, I'm correct.
And they got me for voyeurism, Alex. Just so you know, just so we're all on the same page here. I wasn't even recording. I just had the camera in my hand.
Put the sex offender registry on the table.
Right. That's right. That's
the only reason to bring voyeurism in. I just want to put that on the table for you.
I don't think that charge carries that, but I wasn't even recording.
Being recorded, his Ring camera said.
So there's that.
Can I help you?
Hey, Sergeant Fahey, how are you?
You gotta get off my property. You're supposed to no trespassing.
Nope, there is no posted sign. There's no problem. Do you have any? Let's go.
And the reason why you can't really see, well, you can't see at all. And I wanted to clarify this because some people were saying that like you didn't just run and leave. I did. I didn't run and leave. I started moving back immediately, right? The camera guy, and I was the one who was told, let me make this clear. He was looking at me, talking to me. He was giving me the command to leave his property, right? I'm the one talking to him. And that's why I'm about to say, let's go to my cameraman because I'm moving back and he's just like, you know.
Do you have any comment on the allegations that you are, I am moving. Do you have any comment on the allegations that you are receiving? Couldn't even get the question out. Ladies and gentlemen, he was so angry. Couldn't even get the question out. He says that there's no trespassing signs. Let's see. Let's see if there's no trespassing signs. What a coward. He can assault me in broad daylight while receiving taxpayer money. But the minute an independent journalist comes to his home, and he's probably going to try and get me unlawfully arrested now. As you could see, I moved back his camera that says you are currently being recorded. Film this guy. You're crazy. What do you think I'm doing, you psycho? You have a weapon in your hand? What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't have any weapons. I'm a journalist. What do you think I'm doing, you psychopath? What do you think I'm doing?
Get off my property right now.
What do you think
Get off my property right now.
I'm off your property.
This is my property.
Well, do you see me?
So question. This is a shared kind of
It looks like
driveway.
Common ground, yeah.
Right. So I don't even know if this is his property. It's probably both this house and this house. Both. There's probably like a shared road.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Get off my fucking property.
Get that gun out of your hand.
Get off my fucking property.
Get that.
Saw that little bump? Just boom.
Goddamn Connecticut State Trooper.
I don't care who you are.
Trespassing
I don't care who you are.
Fucking property.
I don't care who you are.
Get off my fucking property.
I don't care who you are.
Right now.
You spit in my face.
Get off my property right now.
You're going to jail now.
Get
Look
off
at
my
this.
property
Look
right
at
now.
this. He's spitting my face. You say you're
right
going
in
to
my
jail.
face. I'm spitting as I'm talking to you.
No, you spit
Get
in
off
my
my
face.
property.
You spit in
right
my face
now.
You spit in my face.
Get off my property.
You're going to jail
right now.
I'm going.
Get off my property.
I've been going
right
since the
now.
moment you told me.
Get off
That's
my
not
property.
how criminal trespass
right
works,
now.
psycho.
Get
You're
off
a
my
psycho,
property right
Look
now.
at the gun in his hand. This guy's
Goddamn
crazy.
right. I'm a Connecticut State Trooper.
I don't care a shit who you
are.
are.
Trespassing on my property.
That doesn't matter. You can't break
to
the law.
kill me.
I didn't.
You threatened to kill me online.
Right. No, I
Get
did
off
not.
my fucking
You're a
property.
liar.
Right now.
You are a liar.
Right now.
Look, see the big
Get off
beautiful
my
billboard,
property.
Chuck? It's all being recorded.
I don't care.
It's all being. I
Get
know you
off
don't
my
care.
property
Because you don't face any
right now.
consequences.
Get
You
off
don't
my
face any
property
consequences.
right now.
Don't
This is
spit
the
in my
biggest
face.
mistake you ever
No,
made.
no, it's not.
This
It's
is
the biggest mistake
you
ever made. No,
Get
it's
off
not.
my property right now.
It's not the biggest mistake
Get
I
off
ever
my
made.
property right
It's
now.
not the biggest mistake.
Get
Biggest
off
mistake. You
my
are spit in my
property.
face.
I
You
didn't spit in your face.
You disgusting.
I was spitting on you.
Yeah.
Why I'm yelling at you to get off my property right
Get
now.
off. I'm off your property. Now what? Now what? Look at the gun in his hand.
That's right. I have a gun in my hand.
I'm a goddamn Connecticut State Trooper.
I don't
And
care.
you threatened to kill me
No,
online.
I did
So
not.
I'm protecting myself
No,
and my
I did-
family.
no, I did
don't
not.
ever fucking come back to my house again.
No problem. I'll stand right here with my billboard truck.
You go right ahead.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even think until I spoke to Alex today earlier. I didn't even like really understand that, you know, he is committing defamation. He's lying. I have never threatened any violence towards this individual, let alone to kill him. Never threatened any violence towards him whatsoever. I've only threatened accountability in the legal system. That's the only thing. I've went to internal affairs over and over again. I've emailed and called the state's attorney to have him charged. And at the end of the day, you know, when is enough enough? You know, people like, you know, Eric, your take, right? You know, you're saying I knew what I would, I should be more careful that, you know, he came out with the gun because, you know, I'm at his house. We've had prior interactions. Again, I would argue we've had no type of violent interactions on my part.
Right.
But at the same time, someone that keeps getting violated by an individual and the justice system, the injustice system in Connecticut there continually protects the criminal and prosecutes the victim over and over and over again. As I just stated, he faces no accountability. It's like, when is enough enough? When is he going to face accountability? And he wasn't, till this day, he's not facing any accountability. And he's, allegedly cooking books when it comes to his overtime. He's going to say now he makes more than $80K in overtime a year. You know, in your experience as a cop, when it comes to the overtime, is it normal for a office law enforcement officer who works at a desk to get $80,000 in overtime?
No. The ones that get that are typically motor cops, because motor cops are used for everything, every special event, anything you can think of. They're constantly motor cops. That's, everybody knows in policing, especially at larger departments. Like, if you're going to be a cop, just a cop, like, not promote your way through to make money, but if you want to make money as just a basic cop, you go be a motor cop, a motor sergeant, whatever. But yeah, not riding a desk. Because you're what I would consider non-essential,
right?
So,
and you know, $80,000 seems like a lot of money to me just in overtime. Like, especially when you're the sergeant of pistol permits, it's like people can only get their pistol permits from 9 to 5, right? So, what I could understand, maybe staying an hour or two, maybe doing some paperwork or something, if that. And but 80 grand seemed like a lot. So it was something I was very curious, and I was genuinely investigating. Yeah. You know, it's been how long since the second incident where I never had any communication with Sergeant Bryan Fahey. You know, I'm not sending him emails. I'm not doing anything like that. I don't even know his email address, but I felt like I needed to ask him the question, and I wanted to. And at the same time, this individual is so unhinged that even though I was hoping he would just say, you know, get off my property, that's it, you know, or say, hey, I'm not getting any overtime, or explain his overtime. He did this to himself. And that's part of, like you said before, that's part of my mission. Part of my mission is to expose bad cops. Yeah. You know, I have conversations. I found your channel, popped up on my feed. I've been in your live streams before. I think you do a great job, an objective job, and breaking down your body camera footages over on Two Cops One Donut. And I really like the way you think, because I think you're very reasonable. But I've had a lot of interactions with good law enforcement officers, but when they're bad and they're not, it's kind of like a double whammy. They're bad and then they're not held accountable. Like, that really gets me.
Yeah, it gets me too. It's one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I think it's one thing to show bad cops all the time. That's kind of what you know how the algorithms go. Then that's all you see. So my mission, just like you said, I like to be objective. There's a lot of good cops doing good things, but there's also a lot of bad cops doing bad things. So let's show all of it and discuss each one of those, because I think it's important to know what makes a good cop a good cop. I don't think because you're dancing on TikTok and making an ass of yourself, that doesn't make you a good cop either. Just because you're not out there violating somebody's rights, you're also not doing this service. You know, you're not doing anything to this career field. And in this guy's case here, you know, like you said, you've clearly got several things, like in my opinion, that clearly show that he's violated the law. And it would be different if it was clipped up. This is not a clipped up version. I got to see personally the start to finish, and then talk to you and hear your story, and it's all consistent, which is what I do. That's my job. I look for inconsistencies in stories, and I try to look from both angles. I try to be fair and objective on both sides. So when
that's what I appreciate about you, really.
Yeah, and when I say, like, I understand why he responded with a gun, it doesn't. I'm not saying that he's right for doing that. I just understand it. Like, it's my home, it's my castle. I've got my family there. I am usually armed. I'm armed right now. I always have a gun with me on my own property. It's just how I am. I want to be prepared. But in that, what I see is a guy that identified himself as a trooper, spit on you, which is assault where I'm from, and then nothing happened. If I was the responding officer, I'd be like, listen, you got to walk with this, bud. I got to take you in no matter what. You may beat the rap later, but I got it on video. I see you spit in the man's mouth intentionally. It wasn't you doing it. And then that's the other thing. Color of law. He's saying that he's a Connecticut state trooper. He spits on you in your mouth and is lying, saying that I did that while I was talking. That's a clear lie. I can't say for certain about him saying that you threatened him, because he says, well, he threatened to kill me, but then later on he says you threatened to kill him online. So okay. I'm just going to call that one a wash because I don't know for certain. But what I do know for certain is that he assaulted you and that he was doing it under the color of law, saying that he was a Connecticut state trooper.
Right. And that's, and that's my other thing is, like, there's no levels of account. There's obviously levels of accountability, but he has faced none of the levels. An officer has threatened to kill, that he would have killed me 20 years ago. He was suspended for 9 days. I said, I'd rather him lose his job. He said he would kill me, remove my teeth. He got 9 days. That was in Danbury, Connecticut, by the way, Alex. He got 9 days. It's something. This man has had zero, just no accountability, not a write-up in his jacket accountability. And I want to get to the bond, because I think, Alex, that's where you're going. I'll play the rest of this and we'll get to how the bond thing shook out, because that was really strange. I talked to you at the police department, and I want to get your take on what happened with
I don't care.
In my face, you're
Don't
going to
ever
jail.
come back to
You're
my
going to jail.
fucking house
You're
again.
going to jail.
Don't ever
You're
come
going
back to
jail.
my house
It's okay
again.
for you to assault people and break people's property, but I can't ask questions about your overtime. About your overtime, $75,000 for a desk job. More than that, right? More than that. I'm gotta go. What a crazy psychopath. He spit in my face. Hey, sir, how are you? So is there any updates on, because obviously I want to press charges for him spitting in my face that I showed the sergeant here on camera. So what's going to happen with that?
So we went through the assault statute specifically, and there's nothing that specifically states that spitting on somebody is an assault unless it caused you physical pain.
Alex, your thoughts on that statement as an attorney in Connecticut?
No, that's wrong.
So when I read the statute, it seemed to me that it's also risk of, right? It's risk of pain. At least that's how, when I read it, that's what I saw. So why do you think that's wrong? Why do you, what is the language in the statute that would allow him to be charged?
Well, it depends on which statute you're talking about, but assault on the third degree requires some physical injury, but the amount of physical injury that is required can be very, very slight, and the spit hitting your face would be enough. But there are other crimes as well. Reckless endangerment, recklessly creating a risk of injury to another person. There's also breach of peace. A breach of peace is conduct that disturbs or disrupts public order.
Oh, I was disturbed.
There's also disorderly conduct. That's intentionally causing inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm to another person, like fighting, making unreasonable noise or offensive language, yes, spitting would qualify as disorderly conduct under any reasonable definition of that statute. So there's actually like a whole menu of charges, and merely if it caused you an ounce of physical pain, that in itself, I mean, if the spit got in your eyes, for example, and you had to blink it out, if it gets in your mouth, and then you have anxiety and concern about having his germs in your body, it's not a felony. It's not a felony assault. It's not assault in the second degree. It's not attempted murder, but it's definitely at least disorderly conduct, breach of peace, reckless endangerment, and probably assault third.
I mean, I just showed an article where some woman was charged with assault in the third for spitting in someone's face. She did 2 years probation, pretrial probation, I think, and they dropped the charges. But she was charged with assault in the third for spitting in a woman's face. What's it like over there in Texas?
That's assault all day long. I can get it as low as simple assault for offensive contact, but it's the intentionalness behind it that makes a difference. It's the culpable mental mind states that he was aiming and spitting directly into your mouth, eyes, and nose. So to me, that's more of an attempt to harm.
Right.
So in my opinion, I would rather maybe go for a little higher than a class B. Obviously, I'm not like your attorney saying not necessarily a felonious amount. That's going to be harder to prove without more. So a class B or higher, maybe even a class A. But yeah, I would have hooked it. I will tell you guys right now, he would have been going to jail for the spitting. It would have taken me time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to act like I would have been like, oh, yep, hooked up, boom. I would have looked at all of that stuff. All that we've talked about. This would have been a 2-3 hour freaking investigation out there on that cul-de-sac, because I would have wanted to make sure I got all my I's dotted, my T's crossed.
So one thing that the officer is referring to here is he's referring to 53A-167C, which is assault on an officer. So the assault on an officer statute does specifically say that hurling or spit or causing saliva to hit an officer is a felony, automatic.
Yeah.
So they are right that if you were an officer, it's automatically a felony. But that doesn't mean that if you're not an officer, it's legal to spit on someone criminally. It's not. It's clearly not. You're not allowed to spit on people. That is a crime. So honestly, it's stunning that the Groton police did not do anything about that.
Because you had physical contact while retreating, and you had the spit, which is also physical contact. But I mean, he physically bumped you. He was closing the distance himself. So these are factors that I look at as a detective. When I was a detective, these are things that I would have looked into. So with the criminal trespass, you didn't violate that either. And in criminal trespass, they have to afford you the ability to leave. And then you have to show continuous indication that you are leaving. And you did that. At no time did you stop, and at no time did you regain ground that you had retreated from. So for me, you didn't violate a criminal trespass as it wasn't posted, and you left when you were clearly told to leave. And you definitely didn't threaten him. So breach of the peace, I don't see that. And then voyeurism, that's just a joke. Like, that's not even close.
The only thing that
he was also inciting, he spit on you on purpose because he believed that was going to cause you to go off your square so that he could then shoot you or something. You know what I mean? So that's the really dangerous and scariest part about it. But luckily, thankfully, you really kept it under control, and I'm really proud of you for that.
Yeah, bro.
I appreciate that. No, I try and always remain in control of my emotions. That one was probably the biggest test I've ever faced. Never had that happen to me before. It was pretty disgusting. But let's see what he has to say. And I just want to note for everybody watching, I will be going to the state legislature in Connecticut, and I will be asking them, demanding that they change the statute to be identical to the law enforcement officers, the elements of bodily fluids, Because how can you have one standard of protection for law enforcement officers, but have a different standard of protection for we the people? It doesn't make any logical sense to me. I don't know why that would be the case.
Fits is physical pain, and that's under the exception of if you spit on an officer, then that is when bodily fluids become involved.
So he could spit on me in my face and in my mouth, and that's not against the law?
Circumstances, I'm saying that it doesn't really fit the assault charge.
How do you keep a straight fucking face? How do you keep a straight face and say that stupid shit?
Look at this.
How do you keep a straight face and say that? Yeah, he can spit in your face. Come on, guys.
So what happened if I spit on you?
Well, then you would get arrested because I'm an officer. You can't spit on.
That right there, it just brought me back. That right there, him saying that, it irated me. I was irate. Because I'm like, you're not better than me. You are a public servant.
Yeah, I get. And this goes, a lot of good cops that I know. We get times where you got in a fight with a bad guy, and it's just what it is. Bad guy's gonna do bad guy things. Good guy hopefully does good guy things. You get the cuffs on him. You dust them off. Am I gonna charge that guy now with assault on a peace officer simply because I'm a cop? No, that's the game we play. And I don't mean to call it a game, but that's just part of being a cop. You're gonna get dirty from time to time. In a good way, trying to arrest somebody that's fighting back like that. I understand, but like what you're saying, like rules for thee, but not for me. Like
right.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And like, there's people trying to push a motive of if you kill a cop, you should automatically get the death sentence, but you shouldn't get the death sentence if you kill somebody's kid or somebody's loved one. Like, no, I signed up for this. That's the risk with the job. I don't want it to happen. Trust me. But you don't deserve a special punishment because you killed me. I'm here for y'all.
Right. Again, I don't see how it makes any logical sense to have a tiered system of protection for people that signed up for a job that is dangerous. Again, we can get into how dangerous it is, but dangerous, not the most dangerous job in the world. Like if you killed the person with the most dangerous, like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
In the assault on an officer charge, bodily fluids are included.
So there is no charge. You're telling me as a sergeant of the Groton Police Department, you're telling me there is no charge for a grown man spitting in another grown man's face.
I'm telling you that it doesn't fit assault.
Well, what does it fit? Isn't that your job to find out?
Yes. Bro, you're not leaving there until I get a charge.
That's 100% his job, Sean.
Oh my God.
What does it fit? Isn't that your job to find out? What does it fit? Like what crime it is?
Breach of peace, but you're on his property. You interacted. You engaged the interaction. I mean,
so if it's a breach of peace, arrest him for a breach of peace.
Well, that's the other issue that we're going down right now. Is you guys are also in violation of a breach of peace.
No.
As well as
I mean, take us both then. Take us both then. It's not voyeurism. It's not voyeurism to knock on somebody's door. That's not.
It is. If he has a reasonable expectation of privacy and you invade on his curtilage,
no,
and you're recording,
you're wrong. But do it.
Who has a reasonable? You don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy on your curtilage.
Right.
It's like you have privacy on the outside of your house.
You don't. You know how I know
Sergeant Fahey, he lost his expectation of privacy the minute he opened the door.
Right.
He opened the door. There goes your reasonable expectation of privacy.
And
out the window.
And voyeurism, if I'm not mistaken, specifically says that it is in a manner in which to invade privacy in the home and unknowing to the other party. I think that's two of the aspects of it. Now, I'm not an attorney, so don't. I hope the attorney doesn't jump down my throat, but I think that's something to do with it. At least as a cop, that's the elements I'm looking for.
I'll read it. In Connecticut, malice is typically not a standalone offense, but is often part of a framework of other crimes. Intentional harm. Let's see here. Surveillance or observation. The defendant must knowingly view, photograph, or record a person, typically in a private location or engaging in a private act. The victim must have a reasonable expectation of privacy, such as a bathroom, changing room, or private residence. Again, that's if you're filming them like through their window.
While in plain view.
Right.
One of the elements is that it has to be not in plain view. So literally, unless you poke the camera into the window, and even honestly, even if you poke the camera into the window, it's still plain view. I mean, if a police officer comes up to your car and looks in the window like that, that's considered plain view.
Yeah, what's good? Hey, to the cop on the panel, I mean, you see drugs or a gun through a window, you go up to somebody's front door.
Privacy in that. You've got no privacy. If the police see
plain view.
through the window, it's plain view. And the Connecticut statute says without plain view.
Yeah.
Like if you want to go knock on somebody's door, Eric.
You had a reasonable expectation of privacy on the curtilage in the outside of the house. Because it's in plain view, there's no violation.
So, Eric, if you went to knock on somebody's door, ask them a question about something, whatever the case may be, you're investigating, and you see a dead body through the window, is that just, gotta turn around?
It's an exigent circumstance. I can go in to preserve evidence and secure the scene. So
there you go. And it says the defendant must also observe or record the victim without their knowledge or consent.
He definitely had the knowledge. He might not have had the consent.
Well,
however,
you need
not
that
required in public.
Is knowledge and consent. So that he didn't give you consent. However, it's an and. So it's with malice, which malice is not defined, but think about the statute. Every other subsection of the statute besides subsection 1 is talking about sexual arousal. Okay? Yeah. Only number 1 says with malice. So for it to be in an equivalent statute, with malice really has to be like because you were trying to kill him or try to hurt him. So you don't meet that. And then two without knowledge and consent. They're right on that. But then while such other person is not in plain view, and he's in plain view the entire time.
And we got to go into an intent. You clearly made your intent established the moment you got a camera out before you even made contact with his property. You said, hey, this is our story, $80,000 in overtime. That's what we're investigating. We're going to go up and we'll see if he answers any questions. This was all in one recorded episode. It wasn't clipped up. It wasn't anything. So you had already proven your intent as a journalist protected by your First Amendment right. So to me, there is no malice because the intent has already been clearly established. And that's coming from a cop, not from a lawyer. So I'm hoping I'm impressing Alex. I just want that's it. I just want to impress Alex.
We need you to come up to Connecticut.
No, thank you. I love Connecticut, baby.
Take the ride. Arrest us both for a breach piece.
Well, then turn around for me.
Do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous.
All that for you. 1, 2.
He didn't even do anything. He was just recording.
Yep. That's why you're getting arrested as well, because you're both reporting on this private property, initiating this, which caused a giant scene.
He spit in my face. Are you going to take him to jail?
We're going to deal with that after we deal with this.
Spoiler alert. He did not go to jail at all for anything whatsoever.
Now,
as you guys can imagine, Eric and Alex, this has been, I dropped the video this morning. It was uploaded at 10 a.m. I'm working on 3 hours of sleep. So if my mind's not working right, please bear with me. But I uploaded the video. It's currently going viral on every single social media platform. It's being seen by millions of people at this point, and people are commenting that they are disgusted. I'm getting CC'd on hundreds of emails regarding this incident to the governor, to the police commissioner, to the state's attorney, Alex, in New London. I've been contacted by many reporters. So I spoke to a couple of reporters today, but we read the statement earlier, but I just wanted to take a look really quick at some of the reporting being done locally in Connecticut. So this is NBC Connecticut local. 2 men have been arrested following an incident at a police officer's home in Groton. Officers responded to a home shortly before 5 p.m. Call about a disturbance. Crews said a law enforcement officer who works for a different agency was off duty at the time, reported that 2 men had trespassed onto his property. So, Alex, I have a problem with them characterizing it in that way, right? 2 men had trespassed onto his property. Like, they're making it seem like walking.
It says reported that, though. It says
right
that 2 men had trespassed.
Well, it says crews. Isn't crews just like another name for like NBC reporters?
Wait, go back up. Let me see.
Oh. Cruz said a law enforcement officer who works for a different agency was off duty at the time.
Is Cruz
reported? Okay. The law enforcement officer reported that the 2 men had trespassed onto his property.
So that's defamation by Fahey. Again.
Right. Because I did not trespass.
You didn't trespass because as soon as he said leave, you started to leave. So that's just more defamation by Fahey repeated by NBC.
Right. Authorities said one of the men and the officer knew each other and were involved in ongoing civil litigation. Again, Alex. The men arrived at the home. This is going to be a really awkward deposition. Like, what is that? Is that like put on hold? Because in case all of you watching, we got 15,000 people watching, I guess, across all social media, I guess, all your channel, all my channels. But
that is all of my channels is 15,000. So it's not me.
No, it's cool, man. But if you don't already, if you're not subscribed to Two Cops One Donut, you should. He does a really good job. Again, don't take it from me. Go watch it. You don't like it, leave. Whatever. But all I would ask is that you be objective. I think that the real problem in this country is the death of nuance. Our critical thinking skills have gone out the window. We just need to see where each other are coming from. And again, I try and bridge the gap between law enforcement. I've been doing this 4 years, and you guys know me by now. I'm not anti-law enforcement. I'm anti-tyrant. I'm anti-corrupt law enforcement. I want law enforcement to have the highest of the high standards. What officer would disagree with that? A bad one. Saying that officers should be held accountable and held to the highest standard for upholding our constitutional rights. Yep. An oath that they swore to do. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I believe Eric feels the same way, that he should have high standard, that law enforcement officers should have high standards.
Yep.
I don't think it's that controversial. Anyway, the men arrived at the home with a box truck and LED box truck, playing video footage of a prior interaction between the individuals. Investigators determined that the men were on the officer's property filming, and the verbal confrontation happened. Authorities said the officer retrieved a firearm from inside his home during the incident. Both men, who are from New York, face charges including voyeurism with malice, breach of the peace, criminal trespassing, according to police. The incident remains under investigation. No additional information. This is basically all of the reporting. And again, it's new, right? This just happened. I just posted it this morning. They're just talking to me. They're reaching out to Fahey. I guarantee you none of them are going to knock on his door.
Yeah.
I promise you none of them. Fahey, you got a comment? They're not going to do it. They would have in any other given scenario. They would have. I've seen hundreds of videos of journalists going and knocking on people's doors. I understand this is a little bit different as we have some sort of relationship, I guess. I don't know. This is the Groton Police Department. I just wanted to show this to everybody. 1.9 thousand comments on their latest post here. It's actually insane.
They'll turn that off. They'll
turn that off. Yeah, they're gonna turn this off, man.
Yep.
Look, plot twist. Fahey just went into his house to clock in to get some more overtime.
Yeah, I mean, technically, him sitting there identifying himself as a Connecticut State Trooper, and I just learned Connecticut doesn't have a Brady list thing, so I don't.
Really? I did not know that. I just learned that too.
Yep. So
you don't have a Brady list? What are you guys doing over there, man? Alex?
Convicting innocent people? What do you think?
What are you doing over there? That's crazy. Alex, on a scale of 1 to 10, I have court on July 25th. What are the chances that the charges are dismissed because they realize they created a grave mistake and an injustice, and they want to do the right thing and stop this injustice from taking place?
They're not zero, but it's close. It's not zero, but it's close.
Five?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on
50-50?
I'm on vacation July 25th. Damn it, Sean.
It's all right. I'll go for the first one by myself. I'll play it ear by ear. Don't worry, I got it. I'll take care of the first one. It's just an arraignment, right? It's not a big deal. Speaking of which, I wanted to let me take this down for a second because I really want to talk to you. It's really interesting. And when Eric and I were talking offline, he thought that this was interesting as well. In Connecticut, the police department set your bond, correct?
Oh, yeah. Fucking
it's somebody as low as a sergeant, correct, Alex?
Yeah, it's really it's heavy metal here.
I've never heard of such a that's a court thing. I've never heard of that anywhere.
Like Connecticut also has no grand jury, so the entire thing is police, prosecutors, no oversight at the pretrial.
Oh, and the prosecutors, by the way, just so everybody watching, we have a good understanding of the criminal justice system in Connecticut. The prosecutors aren't elected in Connecticut either.
Oh, no, sir. They get 8-year terms, and they also have a union that's as strong as the police officers.
Yeah, the judge that presided over my Danbury case, Alex, right before he became a judge, which was not that long before he took over, he started presiding over my trial, he was the president of the Connecticut State Prosecutors Union. He was their president, and then he became my judge. I don't think that was a coincidence, but it is what it is. Yeah, they're not elected. They are appointed by some commissioner, by some commission that the commission is appointed by the governor. So you got to go like 2 levels up to get to some sort of accountability, which would be the governor. But yeah, they set the bond, Eric, at the police department. It's usually like the commanding officer, whoever's the commanding officer at the time. And they had told me, Alex, this is what I want to get your feedback on. I got there. I'm there for like 30, 45 minutes. They're like, all right, Mr. Reyes, come to the cell. They're like, Mr. Reyes, your bond's going to be $10,000 in Connecticut. You have to put 7% in cash. You give it to us, and we let you go, $700. And your cameraman's going to leave on a promise to appear, just signs the paper, and we let him go. About an hour after that, they come back and say, well, they've received some phone calls because it involved the Connecticut State Trooper, XYZ, powers that be, called the Groton Police Department. This is what they told me. They were making a lot of phone calls to hire up people, and now my bond's $75,000 and $50,000 for my cameraman, $125,000 total. In your experience as a criminal defense attorney in Connecticut, does that seem like a reasonable bond for the charges that were levied against us? Is that what you typically see?
Oh, that's crazy.
Is there not a limit on? Is there not like a limit on what the police can set the bond on? Like, can they just go up to $1 million? Like, is there some sort of limit that they can do? Or because I was curious on like, wow, I didn't think that the police can. I knew they could set a bond. I didn't think they can go up that high.
Whatever limit they impose, there's no review of that unless you stay incarcerated and they have to bring you to the next court date and you can argue it in front of a judge. And since you got released, you're not going to get brought the next day. Your arraignment is, more than 10 days from now. But if you had not bonded out, then your arraignment would have been Monday, most likely, and you would have been able to argue it then. But there'd be no checks and balances from the police department from you being arrested until the court date.
There was no way I was going to give Fahey the satisfaction that I spent the weekend in jail. I found a way. I pulled the money together. We got the bail bondsman, and both me and my cameraman got out. But yeah, guys, we've been talking for an hour. I know you, Eric, you on your channel, man. If you want a long type of content where people have a lot to say, go over there.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes I will go over there and when I have more strength. But just some final thoughts from both of you guys, because we're going to be getting out of here.
I'll let Alex go first.
I'm really happy that you're alive, and I hope that we're able to get some justice for the situation, because as long as people like that have authority in our state, it's a scary thing, and people need to be safe. My 3-year-old son gets it. You know, police put the bad guys in jail, but the bad police also need to go to jail. If my 3-year-old gets it, then the Connecticut state government should be able to get it too.
Well, I want to say to you really quickly, Alex, that I appreciate you. You know, you are currently representing me on these cases. I am sure you'll be representing me in the ongoing lawsuit that's going to come from all of this as soon as the criminal charges are dismissed. And I appreciate it. You know, you did the deposition really well. And I appreciate all the work you've been doing on the case and everything that you've been doing. So, you know, you've been helping me fight for accountability here and corrupting it, as I like to call it. And, you know, hopefully I get that statute changed. But Eric, any final words from you?
Yeah.
The cop.
The cop, yeah, the cop splainer. First,
any cop splaining from you,
yeah,
Eric? You got any cop splaining to do, man?
I apologize if that's how I come across to y'all. I am who I am. Okay, I just be me, man.
No, brother, I'm messing with you.
I really do try to keep cop splaining to a minimum, but no. In this case, you know, the thing that I'd like to focus on the most is how do you treat any other journalist? And this is exactly right. There's so many instances of journalists walking up to a property, knocking on a door. Hey, we're here at this such and such place. We're going to try to see if we can get a comment. Knock on the door. Oh, they're not here, and they leave. Or hey, get off my property. All right, well, you heard them.
No comment. Or no comment.
And then they walk off. And what concerns me as a cop of this amount of time, he's been a cop probably as long as I've been one, or if not more, like, judging something as you see it and how to handle it. I would have just been like, bro, get off my property. And then maybe watch you leave. But that's about it. Like, it's pretty simple. Hey, dude, you need to get off my property. Go. And you know, maybe that would have been it. And I don't want to speak for what his mindset was at that time. I don't know what he was thinking. Who knows what was going through his head. So that all plays a factor. But no, man, you spit in somebody's mouth that is clearly leaving and all that stuff, dude. I'm just like, it wasn't handled properly. And for there not to be any pending charges, like, okay, let's say you didn't cuff him. Let's say you didn't put him in cuffs that night. Alex, is there any pending charges right now?
Yeah, I mean, can we figure that out?
For
the people watching live, can we see if Sergeant Fahey has been charged?
Because that is something that they could have said, hey, we're not
we
comfortable
don't want to give him the satisfaction of seeing him in the jail cell.
Yeah, we're going to pass the buck to and this happens in police work. We pass the buck to the detective.
It wouldn't be up there yet because Sean Paul, yours is not up there yet either.
Yeah.
Mine's not. I'm still a law-abiding citizen right now. That's cool.
Yeah. It goes up, I think, after the first court date. So, but we know he wasn't arrested. I mean, I guess we don't really know, but
yeah, because seriously, it is something to consider. I know that as an officer, I'll write it up and we do what's called a suspect case, where I'll say, hey, this guy's involved. He's a possible suspect. But then I pass the buck to the detective, so I don't have to make the call. And then the next thing you know, the detective gets the case and he's like, yep, there's enough here. And then they file the charges.
There's an interesting question as to whether they should have just filed 2 applications for arrest warrants and left it up to the courts to decide.
Well, the fact that they don't have a grand jury there speaks volumes to their justice system.
We don't have a lot of these.
But that's a good point, Alex, because they can do that. They could just write up a warrant, send it to court.
Arrest warrants for both. And the truth is the officers really didn't witness anything that happened. So, you know, they didn't really have probable cause to arrest you, and there was to arrest the officer. So it's a sad statement about our legal system, what happened.
Yeah, and even sadder is that in Danbury, when I had this whole saga in Danbury, it was like a whole, for those of you watching probably know about the Danbury saga. But when I was in Danbury, there was a security guard there named Phil, and he pushed me multiple times on camera, just trying to keep me out of a city hall, pushed me, threatened me, said, I'll knock you down. I used to knock trees down, all this craziness. Several times on camera pushed me, clear as day. The officer told me, well, there's nothing I can do. I'm going to write a warrant. I'm going to write an affidavit. I'm going to write an affidavit, send it to the court. So that's the problem I'm having. That's the disconnect I'm having, Eric, with law enforcement and our criminal justice system. And it's not just law enforcement. Let me be clear. it's also district attorneys, state's attorneys. In Connecticut, they're called state's attorneys, but here in New York, they're called district attorneys. It's also that branch of the criminal justice system as well. Even judges, again, I get in, nobody likes when I talk about judges, or I should say judges don't like it when I talk about judges, but I just don't care.
Forbidden territory, bro.
In Connecticut, we're not, as lawyers, we're not allowed to talk about judges. There's multiple attorneys who've been sanctioned for criticizing judges. And the Connecticut law is that attorneys don't have First Amendment rights. So I can't talk about judges
What
either.
type of police state is Connecticut, man?
Bro.
What is going on over there, man? Listen, I'll criticize the judge all the time.
We call it the Constitution state.
I
It's
know.
really-
It's on your license plate, dude. It's on your license plate. The Constitution state.
Nah.
No grand juries.
Real quick, what drives me nuts as a cop is that, like, I get it. I love the open and transparency and the accountability that we're pushing. That's the narrative towards policing. That's what everybody wants. That's where the body cams came from. And that's, you get departments that are putting out their own press conferences, like within 24 hours of a serious incident. Like, I love that. That was a good push. Where's that push for the courts? Where's that push for the courts? Because you got prosecutors that have what I would call slam dunk cases, let them go. And you've got judges that there's nobody looking at why they charge what they charge or whatever, sentencing and all that stuff. There's no push for that. No push to see what corrections are doing inside of their facilities, which I think is, I get it. Let's be even.
I mean,
the cop,
to be fair, I have been very vocal about, I go to correctional facilities across New York State, and I've been reporting. I actually covered the Robert Brooks arraignments when the officers were arraigned for a depraved murder.
I got to run to another meeting, but
thank you for having me. Take care, Alex. Thanks. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. So I actually covered the arraignment in the jury box, and one of the court officers there, he was like, he leans over to me because I was like, I was just like, I'm pressed. I just showed up there and I'm like, I'm pressed. Like, confident, just I'm pressed, like, and they let me in the jury, the jury box with the rest of the press, these guys in suits, their notepads and their iPads, and these big cameras and everything. And one of the court officers says, "I know who you are, Mr. Reyes." He's like, just be like how you are, Czar. Keep it cool, man. I'm like, all right, cool, we're good. We're good.
Fair enough.
But no, I've covered that. And you're right. I think it's a big problem, Eric. I really do. I think the prosecution and the judges don't get enough of this push for transparency and accountability. And I think where that comes from is that it's hard because they work in a place where they don't allow cameras. There's a judicial order that doesn't allow cameras in there. And then it's not trespassing if you go in there starting filming. Now you're dealing with contempt of court, where a judge is going to sentence you to 30, 45, 60 days in jail, depending on your attitude and how you treat them. Because you went in there with a camera, or you went in there asking questions, and whatever the case may be, there's not really a lot of transparency in the judicial system, especially because prosecutors, people, police are on the front lines, that's who we see. But prosecutors, they have immense power to prosecute or decline, a null pros. They can decline to prosecute. Right. They have broad discretion. And I've tried to explain this to a friend of mine. I know he's watching right now. But they're like, they have to prosecute. And if they don't, that's a cover up. That's wrong. They're going to get in trouble. Someone can literally kill someone in a county, and the DA can say, I'm not going to prosecute. And there is there is no accountability for that. They have the ultimate discretion not to, who's going to prosecute? The judge? The judge, that's not his role. That's not his role. That's the way it works. And it's unfortunate. And I think we need to, get more into that. I think that's a good point, Eric. I really do. Yeah. Well,
I think that's
appreciate it.
I think that's phase 2 of your job.
Yeah, phase 2. That's the next one. Let me handle up these civil lawsuits and these criminal charges against Fahey, and I'll get right on it. And in the state of corrupting it. But I want to thank everybody watching. I really appreciate it. Again, Eric over here, the first time we talked on the phone, we were talking for like 2.5 hours. We did. It was a long conversation, and it was very positive and productive, and it was a great conversation. We think alike. I will never not bring a law enforcement officer on my channel, active duty, retired, whatever you are. I will bring them on. Even one I would love to bring one that disagrees with me completely. That would never happen.
It's
but
fun.
I think that would be great. I would love to bring on a law enforcement officer who hates my guts. I would love to. Tell me why. Give me specifics. People say, "Oh, you're a troublemaker." Show me. Don't just tell me. Show me how I'm a troublemaker. Show me what exactly word I said, what action I took. The one thing I hate is when people say, you put cameras in people's faces. Like, it's such a disingenuous statement to make, to say I just put cameras in people's faces. I have never once put a camera in somebody's face. That has just never happened. It's just disingenuous. But I would love to. If you're a law enforcement officer and you got beef with me and you got beef with what I do, come on the channel. Let's have a discussion about it. An open discussion. We'll bring Eric. But again, he's got 2 Cops, 1 Donuts over there. Look at that studio over there. Beautiful studio. He's got the whole production team. This guy is legit, man. He's going places.
Check us out at DTV too, the donut.
DTV, its own. You got this. What is it? Explain what DTV is.
So DTV is basically, it's an expansion of what 2 Cops, 1 Donut was. That was just my podcast where I was bringing on people like Matt Thornton, Banning Sweatland, my co-host people.
Matt Thornton, shout out to Matt Thornton. Love you, brother. You're a great dude, doing God's work over there. My Father's Business, I believe, is the name of his nonprofit. Go check that out. He's doing great work because he's not only talking the talk, he's walking the walk in his own city, in his own community. He's doing, he's getting these kids off the streets. He's not just arresting kids when they're committing crimes. He's trying to get them before they're committing crimes. So he's doing God's work over there. But so it's like it's basically just like an all-in-one. Go ahead. Sorry.
So what we're doing is we've all got great ideas. Matt's got an idea for a show that he would host and have felons and stuff like that have been reformed and whatnot. So we can talk about that. I've got ideas for shows. I want to kind of discuss tech and stuff like that's in policing that we need to know about and possibly be worried about, Big Brother overstepping. So we got all these ideas. So that's what DTV became. And then we expanded that. It's not just cops. I've actually got, you'll see a guy chatting in the chat box, Mr. Billfold. You'll see another guy named Tim. These are people that could not stand cops. They actually are a part of your community. They couldn't stand cops. And they've been following us for so long. I brought them on the show. Why not? And now they're a part of what we're doing with DTV and trying to keep that level-mindedness where it's not an echo chamber for cops or an echo chamber for cop haters. It's all encompassing. So that's what we're doing with DTV, trying to have those real discussions and improve first responders across the board in military, because I'm in all that stuff. So that's what we're doing.
Cool, man. Go check them out. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate you coming on. I will be on 2 Cops, 1 Donut. I hope to be semi-regular. I don't know. I got a busy schedule, but I got, the little ones and everything else. But I want to come on there as much as I possibly can. Have some good conversations with you guys. You guys you're good with me. All right, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
Take care.
Thanks for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a great conversation with Eric Levine and Alex Taubes, my attorney, representing me against the lawsuit against Sergeant Bryan Fahey, as well as probably the current lawsuit that's coming up. I mean, I haven't hired him to do the job yet. Hopefully I can pull some strings and, get him a discounted rate or something like that. But I haven't hired him yet, but he's a great attorney. Go check him out if you have any legal issues, civil rights issues, police misconduct, whatever it may be. Made a bad decision, you got a criminal charge. That's the guy to do it in Connecticut. He knows everything that's going on over there in Connecticut. So to wrap up my thoughts on everything, listen, I'm not perfect. I'll never be perfect. Just know that. I'm not perfect. I'm not. I make mistakes. I make bad decisions. I will make bad decisions in the future. I will try not to. But I genuinely just wanted to talk to Sergeant Fahey. I did genuinely, every single interaction I've had with Sergeant Fahey, I have been nothing but peaceful and cordial with him until he escalates the situation, until he lets his ego get involved. He lets his ego. And this is why I like where Eric, his police department does, they talk about ego and they have a training course on ego. I think that's great because I've always said in the last 4 years, I've had this channel, ego and the lack of accountability. You fix those 2 problems in law enforcement, I don't know what else there is to complain about, because if you commit a crime, you violate somebody's rights, and you're held accountable, you're out. You're out. No going to the county department down the street, no going anywhere else. You're done. So, I mean, at the end of the day, accountability, ego is the best thing. I hope to continue to do trainings at district attorney's offices and law enforcement agencies to help bridge that gap, to give my perspective. I'm not a legal expert, I'm not a constitutional law scholar or anything like that. I do love to study the law. I do surround myself by attorneys and law enforcement officers to help better my knowledge and get different perspectives on the law and what I do and how I can do it better. And that's why I appreciate Eric coming on, because, you know, he's going to give it to me straight. And that's good. You know, we might not always agree, but, you know, reasonable minds can disagree. So I just want to let you guys know, I appreciate all your support. Thank you for all the donations and help for, you know, legal fees and the, you know, $125,000 bond. That really helps out. So thank you so much for that. Let me see if I'm going to go into the chat really quick. I haven't even looked at the chat this whole time. I feel so bad. They don't care about the data society. Wow, there's a lot. Let's see. Go to law school, Sean. Law school is very expensive. Very, very expensive. And a lot of time, Fahey seems racist and full of hate. He definitely seems full of hate. Racist? I don't know. I think it's just he's on a power trip. Sergeant Bryan will retire and move to a different department. I don't know. I think this is the one that caught up to him, guys. I think this is what he did, you know. And at the end of the day, I don't feel bad for him. You spit in my mouth. You spat in my face. Like, you've assaulted me 2 times before. You've done all these things to me. Do you think I really care, like, what happens if you lose your job, dude? I don't. Go work somewhere else. Not a cop. Go work somewhere else, man. Like, at the end of the day, what am I supposed to do? Feel bad for you? I did blur, and I did get some comments on why did I blur a sign. I want to clear this up too. Keep forgetting. That sign was Sergeant Bryan Fahey's address. He has his address spelled out in front of his house, and I don't want to dox him. He's probably the most vile, disgusting person I've ever encountered in my entire 34 years of living. And that's saying something, but he doesn't deserve to be doxxed. You know, he has a family. I don't want to do that. No, of course not. I would never dox him. So that's why I made sure his address was, that's not my intention. My intention was to ask him a question. That was it. And leave. That was it. That was it. Send somebody else to ask him questions. I mean, I can't. No third-party contact. He has a stay-away order of protection against me. There's nothing I can do. I mean, I can't go to the Connecticut State Police headquarters. I can't call the Connecticut State Police headquarters. It's obviously insane. File a claim. Oh, man, this moves really fast. Keep handling things like you always had. The better man. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. I really do. I appreciate it. I try and keep my cool. And, you know, I won't be perfect. And I want each and every one of you. I want Eric. I want Alex. I want Jacob Uriel. Matt Thornton. I want, and each and every one of you watching right now, I want you guys to hold me accountable, right? I want you guys to hold me accountable. We can disagree. I can be better. But what we need to all agree on is tyranny has no place in this country. Stay safe. God bless. I'll see you guys in the next one. Long Island Audit. Hey.